Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to DATV at 280 Leo Street. I'm Executive Director John Rocco, and today we are here to wrap up our year-long celebration of DATV's 25th anniversary. Back in the spring, we had our annual banquet to celebrate 25 years of public access in the city of Dayton, and today we end the year by burying a time capsule, which we have over here, and all of you can look at it later, although there's nothing to see, it's just a box. But in the box are items of historical significance to DATV as an organization. 25 years ago, DATV was founded to bring community programming to the city, and over that time it has grown from a small organization to one that today has over 500 community producers and volunteers. Over 40 churches doing programming on Dayton Spiritual Television, representing over 11,000 residents of the city of Dayton. So we have an interesting program for you to enjoy today. We are carrying this live on DATV, so anybody who might be in the area, come on down and enjoy the celebration with us. To start out, I'd like to introduce the chair of the DATV Board of Trustees, Roberta Taylor.
Good afternoon. I mean, it's a rather chilly day, but this is a great, auspicious occasion for us to be here. Just think back 25 years ago and think about telecommunications and how far we've come. I remember when DATV started off in a little white house on the corner of Cornell and Catalpa Drive. I have adult children now, and at that time I pushed them in strollers. But when we think about telecommunications, when we think about our history and how telecommunications fits into our history, this is truly an auspicious occasion. I am glad to see so many of you out here on this really crisp winter day. And just think, Christmas is going to be in less than 15 days from now. Again, I'd like to welcome you, and please stay and enjoy the festivities and inquire as to what's going to be into the box and how many of your grandchildren are going to be around, or great-grandchildren are going to be around to see what's in here. What fun are they going to make of this? When we go to museums and things, we think about the things that we make fun of history, and how far we have come. Again, welcome, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Roberta. I failed to mention that the scheduled opening date of the time capsule is March the 1st, 2078, which will be DATV's 100th anniversary. So you might want to put that on your calendar. Don't schedule anything at that time. Right now, I'm happy to have come to the podium someone who has been involved in this organization not only for 25 years, but for more than 30 years in getting public access started in the city of Dayton. He is the longest serving member of the DATV Board of Trustees and one of its founding members, Aaron Schaefer.
I too wish you a happy good afternoon. It doesn't seem like that many years, but I can remember in 1970 when a group of people from the Dayton area sat down and talked about this possibility of having public channels for people, ordinary citizens, to use, and how great a dream it was, and all the things we thought, well, gosh, that could be done and that could be done. But the thing that's probably most important than even the dreams was that large group of people who made it happen and who continue to keep it alive as a vital part of the community. Volunteers are not just from now, but volunteers began the whole process. It was a citywide option that the citizens of the city said, we want to do this. And as a result, the cable channel was created. As soon as the cable system was turned on, in fact, a porta-pack was there shooting the first video of the turn on in a home only to discover later that the Portapack had failed and we had nothing to record, but it actually was an attempt for our first public access programming. But it's so thrilling to be seeing now what has been happening, what happens every day of the year, all year long, the hundreds of people who take part in this, both from the production end and all of you thousands of viewers who respond to our programming. And so, as I look back on a great many years, I'm actually much younger than I seem, and look back over those years and remember the people, many of whom are still around, many of whom are not. I'm thrilled with public access in the city of Dayton and what it does. Thank you.
We're very pleased to have with us a guest who has not only been a long-time supporter of DATV, but a long-time user of DATV, and that is our mayor of the city of Dayton, who for a long time during her stint in the state senate hosted From the State House to Your House, and now on DATV she does what I think is a really wonderful program, and something that I don't think a lot of mayors are doing across the country, a program called Mayor's Beat, which doesn't just discuss politics but really highlights what a great place the city of Dayton is to live. And so I'm pleased to have come up to the podium the mayor of the city of Dayton, Mayor Ryan McClin.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to come out to DATV. I've been coming out here so long. But I tell you what, it's the volunteers that make this program go. And that you've won all these awards. I'm so happy to have Dick Zimmer serve on the board representing the commission. But I tell you what, we're talking about freedom of speech. We're talking about freedom of press. Sometimes we get on the edge, DATV. But I tell you what, that's what makes this community great, that we're able to do that. And Dayton has really become a cosmopolitan city, and I'm just proud to be a part of it. And I just love doing my mayor's beats because I get to find all those great gems in the city and enjoy them, and the staff gets to enjoy them with me. So thank you. And I plan to be here in 2078. I don't know, will it be by scooter or wheelchair or by life support? Okay, yeah, but I plan to be here. Thank you.
One thing that makes DATV as successful as it is the dedication of its staff. And the staff, I'm very happy to say, has been intact for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I'm the shortest serving member of the staff here right now. And representing the staff, we will have a few words from Melissa Mills, our program director, who began working here when she, and I don't even know if this is legal, but she was working here when she was 15 years old. And so she has been here, I don't think quite for the whole 25 years, is that right? Okay. Because we can do the math and find out how old she is. But here's Melissa Mills.
Thank you, John. It's a privilege to speak with you during this historic event. Thanks to Roxy Cole, founding member of DATV, I have been involved for almost 19 years of the 25 years that DATV has been on the air. Roxy provided the inspiration for me to believe in our First Amendment rights and the drive to ensure the voice of the community in Dayton. It is an honor to be involved with our staff, board members, volunteers, and producers. And I hope those of you who open this capsule in 2078 will be able to look back and appreciate how the vision of a few guarantee the right of many and many more to come. Thank you.
We've said a lot about volunteers, and we wanted to make sure that our volunteers were represented here today. And we thought of no better person to represent our DATV producers than one who has been here for a very long time. Wanda Bear started as a producer at DATV back in 1982, so she's been here 21 years. And recently, she received from the Alliance for Community Media, which is a national organization representing public education and government access, the George Stoney Award for Humanistic Communications, which is one of the highest awards that the national organization gives for people involved in public access. And so it's my pleasure to introduce one of our longest serving volunteers, Wanda Bear.
I really am very honored to be here as a representative of all the volunteers and independent producers. Now, John told me that he had me down for about 30 minutes, but it's a little chilly to be sitting out here that long. But since I'm one of the seniors, I do have a few remarks, and I've got them written down so I don't take too long and I don't forget, you know, those senior moments. But today is really a happy occasion for all of us to be able to celebrate DATV's 25th anniversary. Boy, have we come a long way from those limited facilities at the White House. That little studio and those cramped editing rooms. And then we were across the street. Wasn't a whole lot better. You know, we had little editing rooms, limited editing equipment, and what about those big heavy cameras, shaky tripods, and all the rest of the paraphernalia that we had to carry along? Well, you know, those early years were filled with a lot of malfunction. What Aaron said was very true. You'd go out and you'd have a program, come back, no program. Anyway, there were a lot of frustrations, but we hung in there. I think the staff would hide every time I came in that door. I was always having trouble, and I think the staff will tell you they still do. So if you will pardon me, because I do have a lot of memories and a lot of my experiences are many of the same experiences I think that the other producers and volunteers have. But I'd like to reminisce just a little bit because my memories go back to 1982. And we had a feminist activist speaker at Sinclair Community College, and she said, "You women ought to get out there and use that public access." What was public access? Well, I soon found out what Access 30 was and who Roxy Cole was. And my introduction to the video process was Jim Booker. You can blame him. But Steve Ross now keeps pushing me to learn all that new technology. So you can blame him now. Little did I realize how becoming a volunteer independent producer was going to impact my life. My first program was the 10 Top Women Celebration at Dayton Daily News. The first time it was open to the public, we were ambitious, two very inexperienced operators, big heavy camera, you know, didn't know much. No editing know-how, you know, we were just going along. We did get a good program, and I was hooked. And I'm still fascinated by the whole process. Well, with much help from the DATV volunteers and the staff here, this year at the Schuster, we produced our 21st video program of this annual event. So we can take pride in that. Technology has come a long way. Now, I've been involved because I wanted to give women a voice. But then I branched out after that and I started with other programs because I wanted to inform the community not only about celebrating our diversity, our race, ethnic backgrounds, and cultural heritage, but to recognize and understand how all of our many commonalities, that diversity doesn't have to be divisive. Thanks to DATV, I was given that voice, and so have many of the other producers. Public access has given individuals a voice, an opportunity to exercise freedom of expression in a media that is largely controlled by the commercial interests. Our constant challenge is to preserve that right of the community to have a voice, to guard against limiting public access, but also accept the responsibility and be accountable not to exploit that right in a frivolous way. Many of us remember with love Roxy Cole, founder and first executive director of Access 30, now DATV. She was an inspiration to all of us, and Roxy fervently supported the freedom of the public to communicate. We should all appreciate that DATV, John Rocco, Steve, Dan, Melissa, Dorothy, Rick, Dale, Patrick, all of the staff have continued to implement this philosophy and have provided an environment that has promoted learning of new technology, fostered a camaraderie among the volunteers so that there is a willingness to share experiences, knowledge, new ideas, and support each other on our shows. Dayton has often been called the Gem City, and DATV certainly has to be one of its brightest jewels. And I hope we can all continue to provide a voice in the community until 2078 and keep that jewel shining.
That was only 9 minutes, Wanda. I know you're probably wondering what is in that box. So, here to tell us what is in the time capsule is DATV Marketing Director Dan Suffoletto.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here today, and thank you all for coming out. John wanted me to take a moment and tell everyone at home and those of you here what actually is in the box. It's printed in your programs for those of you who are here. For those of you at home, we'll do a brief rundown of what is inside. You guys here can look at we have a photo here of what's inside, and we also have photos inside afterwards if you want to go in and have some refreshments and take a look at a little closer what's inside. We tried to get as many different things as we could. Obviously we were limited by the size there. As you can see, this is all welded shut. The air has been taken out. Everything has been individually packaged and sealed for preservation. So hopefully it will preserve as long as possible. Okay, we have in there a 25th anniversary coin, and that is what you received at the volunteer recognition this year. We have a history of DATV interactive CD. There's a few of those extra inside also if you didn't get one of those at the award ceremony this year. We have a history of DATV written document. We have assorted press releases. We have the articles of incorporation. We have DATV's constitution. We have a copy of the franchise agreement. We have the DATV Premiere DVD video, which is the first program that ever aired on DATV. We have the DATV Public Access Center Grand Opening DVD. We have America Unites DVD, which is a program related to the events of September 11th. We have a DATV lapel pin. We have an Access 30 pin. We have a Dayton Spiritual Television hat. We have a DATV brochure. We have 11 annual reports. We have DATV's rules and regulations. Of course, we have assorted pictures throughout the 25 years of DATV that are included. We have a community media review, which is a national magazine printed by the Alliance for Community Media, celebrating 25 years. We have a workshop packet, so people who open up this time capsule can see exactly what equipment we were using and how we taught back today. We have a DATV board and staff list. We have a DATV tour map. We have a DATV pen. And finally, we have a black and white video monitor that was used in Master Control throughout many of our years here at DATV. So again, thanks for allowing me to come out here and speak to you today, and please come in later on and join us.
It's always fun at events like this to not only look forward to 2078, but to look back at 1978. And I was told that one of our new producers has written a poem about 1978 that he would like to read. So let me introduce T.J. McGuire.
Thank you. I want to thank the staff and Dan for allowing me to speak, which is what DATV is all about. My name is T.J. McGuire. I'm a published poet in various literary magazines. I was moved to write this poem because of the time capsule, because DATV has been running as long as I've been alive. So this is my 25th anniversary as well. So I started thinking about, you know, when I was born, 1978, what was that like? So I kind of wrote this around like a glimpse of the day I was born, and using the various cliches, and I think you'll find it very tongue-in-cheek, sort of whimsical, but if not, wait to throw your tomatoes or shoes till after the poem. It's called Mental Snapshots, 1978. Allow me to begin by saying how tickled I am to have been born during a time of flared lapels and shag carpeting. Yes, an age when platform shoes and afros were all the rage. 1978. I swear I can almost remember hearing the soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever playing ever so sweetly in the background of the hospital delivery room, 1978, as my mom, in labor, is breathing perfectly in rhythm to the Bee Gees' Staying Alive, Staying Alive, and my dad, so taken with joy at first sight of my head, 1978, is up and doing that famous John Travolta disco dance right there on the spot. I seriously wouldn't doubt it if my aunt, 1978, showed up in a jive pair of roller skates, or my uncle on one of those skinny yellow skateboards wearing the Pac-Man shirt with hair down to his shoulders, socks pulled up to his chin, 1978. And while we're at it, my grandpa in a brown corduroy leisure suit strutting into the maternity ward in slow motion, pointing as he winks at the middle-aged blonde woman at the desk, 1978. But aside from these 25-year-old Polaroids seemingly playing out like a scene from Boogie Nights, or even Car Wash, it's really not that hard to picture me as some super fly little newborn, 1978, with camera eyes flashing beneath the intimate effect of light being cast by a glittering disco ball. And all the while, lowering these photos into the bottomless time capsule of my trendy heart, 1978. Thank you.
Of course, about 5 years ago, DATV expanded to include a second channel, which is now known as Dayton Spiritual Television. And as I said earlier, we have 40 local churches representing over 11,000 congregates attending those churches and using this facility to produce programming of spiritual value to the community. And so we wanted to make sure that our producers from Dayton Spiritual Television were heard as well at this event. And so to say a few words and to offer a blessing for the materials we put into the ground today, I'd like to introduce Pastor David Woods.
I want to take this time to thank each and every one of you who are present today, as well as those who are watching by television, for being with us and sharing with us this wonderful occasion. It's a pleasure to be around so many distinguished government and religious leaders of our community. And I especially want to give honor unto a very special religious leader who has been very influential in our community over the last 25 years. Excuse me. And his name is the Reverend Dr. Charles Lee, as well as his wife, the Reverend Dr. Nancy Lee. We want to thank you for being in our presence. And I also would like to take this time to thank the members of the planning committee of this event of giving me this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to everyone associated with DATV for allowing me to be here and to express my feelings about what DATV means to me. And first and foremost, I want to honor the management and staff of Dayton Access Television, who during my tenure at the station, I found to be very cooperative, professional, friendly, and just nice people to be around and to work with. And for the last 6 years, I, along with my sons, David and Devin Woods, have been involved in Christian television. And through this wonderful medium of television, it has afforded us the opportunity of spreading the good news about Jesus Christ to thousands and thousands of people throughout our community. And we are eternally grateful to God and to everyone else involved in running Dayton Access Television, and to the wonderful public who have been so receptive to our messages. And on behalf of myself and my sons, we want to say to all of you, thank you, and may God bless you. And at this time, will you join me as together we come in one accord in asking God to bestow His blessing on the material in the container in front of you. My Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. And those who are standing and sitting before you, and those who are watching by television, are but a small semblance of the many people throughout the Miami Valley who have a deep felt commitment and concern about our community and the constituents of our community, and we are very sensitive to those needs. And the material that's inside of the container before you is only a symbolic gesture on our part to let our future descendants know that we were a people who cared about the direction our community was going. And this caring legacy that we leave behind, as well as the material in the container, is our way of saying, we have run a good race, but we are now transferring the torch unto them, fully confident of the fact that they in turn, having received the torch, they will run their portion of the race, and during their tenure on the racetrack of life, they will follow our lead of providing the community with sound, dependable governmental leadership and be sensitive to and provide the needs of the citizens of our community. And we are confident it will come to pass. And in the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and braving the cool weather. It could have been worse. We could have been buried in that snow. Some of our friends to the east got. I'd like to invite everybody to come into the studio for a reception at the conclusion of today's ceremony, and invite anybody who is watching this program who may not be a member of DATV to come down and join us and help start creating valuable programming for your friends and neighbors. So thank you for coming, and we'll see all of you back on this spot March 1st, 2078. Thanks for coming.